Hey, Professor Alator, my name is Connor Pekary, and this is my sixth speech. So today what I'm going to be talking about is the massive amount of censorship in today's society and why it should be stopped. To start things off, a lot of people will give the argument that censorship will help children and it'll protect the general population from really offensive or hard topics. And to that I would simply say that it's not true and that we actually really need to talk about these things. Things like racism, things in history like the Third Reich, and many other extremely horrible acts that have been committed in the past. The reason that we need to talk about these sort of things is because, number one, we need to know it so we don't repeat it. Number two, we need to realize how far we've come as a human race and as a society. And number three, we need to be able to move forward from those things and really move on with life. The first thing I'm going to be talking about is the massive censorship of the swastika in video games and social media and many other things. While I do not by any means stand by the Nazi Party, I think it's extremely important to have that symbol out there because, number one, it's extremely important to recognize it. It's extremely important to know what it stands for. And it's also extremely important to see all the atrocities and all the horrible acts that have been caused by that symbol. Number two, I'm going to be talking about books in general. A lot of books are starting to be taken out of schools all over America because of their offensive language. Things like To Kill a Mockingbird and many other really important works. Also Mice and Men. Mice and Men was taken out because of its really violent themes and because of its sort of dehumanization of somebody with special needs, which is clearly present in the book. It's really important to talk about that book, and it's really important to read that book so that we can better understand the way life was at the time and how they weren't really treated as people. You know, when it comes to Kill a Mockingbird, it's really important to look at the specific language used and look at the trial itself. It wasn't that long ago that something like that happened. The civil rights movement only happened in the 1960s, which is fairly recent. Many people have not read the book, don't know much about the civil rights movement, and don't know anything about how life was back in the day. And reading books like To Kill a Mockingbird and really diving into the sort of artwork and literature that has been produced from that time period is extremely important. Yes, there are horrible atrocities that occurred, and there are horrible words said, but at the same time, it's extremely important to look at that, see how we've moved forward, and make sure that we're never back in that place ever again. Now, in today's society, there are many issues that still prevail with race. I'm not going to deny that. But at the same time, being able to see how far we've come since then, being able to see how a black man was completely ridiculed and thrown under the bus for absolutely no proof and no reason whatsoever, yet today they have more representation than they've ever had before, is extremely important. At the end of the day, censorship is, while good in some ways, for the majority, is not to be used, and it's not good for the general populace. People need to be able to see how history has come, be able to see what has happened, all the horrible things, and at the end of the day, it also helps us have thicker skin as a society. It makes us more resilient, it makes us more powerful as a group, and it also brings us together to see how far we've come. Thank you so much for listening to my speech, and that's it.